There is another setting not many people know about that is inside your portfolios, and this applies to any new portfolio that you create. Why sometimes when you set a specific campaign budget, your campaign actually spends more than your daily budget, or maybe you set an account level budget and you're still overspending. What's happening? Well, there's 3 different settings inside of your ad console that can change how much your budgets are able to spend and if you're able to spend more than what you originally put in your settings. So that's what I'm going to be walking you through today. What are these 3 settings? Where do you find them? And how do they affect how much you can spend on your campaigns? The first setting that you have in your campaigns is your account level budget setting. So if you go into Ad Console, if you click on settings, you'll see this cap right here. So there's these 2 settings. So the first one, and this is a little bit tricky because this is not an account wide. This is an account wide, but only for sponsored product ads. Doesn't affect sponsored brands and doesn't affect sponsored display. So if you put use campaign level budgets, then what happens is whatever budget you've put at the campaign level, that's when Amazon is going to spend daily. And then as you go throughout the month, if you add more campaigns, and of course, all of that campaign spend adds up to be your daily spend. Or you can put this use daily budget cap. If you implement a daily budget cap, what that means is, hey, Amazon, for every single day, I want you to spend up to X. Again, only for my sponsored products campaigns. Now, some brand owners or sellers have put in daily budget caps and then wondering, why am I still spending more than the daily budget that I've implemented? So there's 2 things and 2 reasons why. One is that you could have sponsored brands and sponsored display ads, and even if your sponsored product ads are spending for whatever the daily budget cap, those other campaigns may still be running. Or the second reason is this average daily budget increase. And if you have not changed this setting in your account, you should go right now and change it. So originally there was only this setting right here that was selected, which allows Amazon to spend up to 25% more than the average daily budget, but using unspent amounts. So let's say an example is I put a daily budget cap of $100, and yesterday I spent $90, but today I'm able to spend $100, but technically there's that $10 budget that's left over from yesterday's spend. So up to 25% more, which would be 100 multiplied by 20%, which gives us an extra $20. So Amazon says, as long as it's not over $20, which $10 is not, if the campaigns are eligible to spend, $110 today, I still have that other old, kind of quote, old budget that I can pull from. That's how this works. Well, there's this new setting, and I don't want to save this, but where Amazon allowed themselves to spend up to $100 more. So again, my budget, instead of increasing potentially to $120, let's say if I had an extra $100 that was spread out through the month, that I had $10 extra here, $10 extra here, all of a sudden one of my campaigns takes off, I could spend up to $200 a day, only if, again, I have previously unspent budgets, and this is monthly. I would recommend only selecting spend up to 25% more. We can't select 0% more, but at least you can limit it to only 25. So that would be the first potential reason why your campaigns might be spending. It might be because you have, again, a lot of sponsored brands and sponsored display ads that have higher budgets, or it could be this spend up to 100% more. But there is another setting not many people know about that is inside your portfolios, and this applies to any new portfolio that you create. So if you go into your ad account, if you go to portfolios, scroll down and select a specific portfolio, what you'll be taken to is this tab, and here's a portfolio name. Now you can see the status here, and the unspent campaign budgets, this is the new setting, is set to sharing. That's because this is a new portfolio. Now we're okay with this setting in this specific instance, but you might not be. So to get to modifying these settings, you just click this blue modify portfolio and you will be taken to this specific tab. So what is this new unspent campaign budget? What happens if this is selected, again, any new portfolio that's been generated, this is like auto selected, is you have unspent campaign budget. So what happens when this setting is turned on is you share unspent campaign budgets with other campaigns in this portfolio that have already spent their full full budget. So an example of this would be, let's say I have an auto campaign that I have maybe I put a high budget on it because I have a really low CPC on it. So I said, okay, I'm willing to spend up to $50 a day on this specific campaign. But in reality, my campaign is only really spending, say, $25. So there's an additional $25 within that campaign. Well, what if I have a really high volume campaign that I'm specifically limiting budget on intentionally, and maybe I've only put $20 campaign budgets here, but what happens if I have this selected is it's going to say, oh, there's $25 of unspent budget on this other campaign. Why don't we take that budget and let's move it to that other campaign that's running out of budget? So this can be beneficial if you know that this is turned on and you are paying attention to how much campaign budget you have stacked across all of your campaigns. But if you're running a strategy where you say, hey, I have always on budgets and I always just keep the budgets really high and I'm just limiting with bids, be very, very, very careful here because there is a potential for this to kind of not work well. And so I would recommend unchecking unspent campaign budgets, and I would click save changes here. That is the second reason. But there is a way. Now, it could be that somebody set it up, could be that you set it up and you totally forgot about it, where you can have budget increase based on either specific times, or you could have your budgets be increasing if they're meeting certain performance metrics if you have set up rules. So where you get to this is you go into your ad console again, click on rules beta, and you can see all of these rules here. Now, I have filtered for active status is enabled just so I can see the ones that are enabled. And you can see here that we do have budget rules. So here we said we're okay with increasing budgets 50% if ACoS is less than 28. We have intentionally put these on here, which allows us to spend more because it is an account that we're being quite aggressive on. So we're okay with these rule sets. But again, if you have set these up, so it's really easy to go into your ad account today, look at this, say like, do we have any budget rules applied? Because the way, again, this budget rule is, we've applied it to specific campaigns. And what's going to happen is if those campaigns are performing well, then we have automatic triggers to increase the budgets on. Now you can see the ACoS here is low, right? For specific ones, we have a more aggressive budgets because again, these are aggressive ranking campaigns. This is seasonality. So we want to make sure that we're being quite aggressive. And we've set up quite a few rules. The reason being is there are very specific rules for very specific products and very specific campaigns. So there is a way, again, to leverage these rule sets carefully. However, if somebody set one up in your account and you weren't aware of it, well, in that case, you could be having these rules trigger, which would be another and third reason of why you're spending so much on your campaigns. If this was helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up and stay tuned. I recommend subscribing because I'm going to be doing another video on how you can use budget rules to actually set up day parting manually in your account without having to pay for software.